guys, welcome back for another ArmorTech installation video. We've got a Polaris 1000 Crew 2017 model today. We're going to show you how to install the rear doors. Before we ever get started, one quick note is that the jambs for the regular door to go in the front will actually be moved from here as it would be on a regular bike. They will be used in the back panel. So those jambs, you'll need to open up your door set, be part number 535 for the front door, and remove the jambs first to go ahead and install in the back. We'll get to the different set of jambs in the other door set. We'll actually bolt to the center post here. So just make a quick note of that. Before we get too in depth, let's go over on the following page we're about to show you, and I'll give you a tool list that you'll need for the project. So we pull our door jambs out of the box, and we've got some hardware bags here. Bag 29 will have your hinges. Bag 16 will have all your nut and bolt hardware. Now we'll take our hinges out of bag 29 and get our bolts out of bag 16. It'll have one 5/8 by quarter Phillips panhead bolt. The two slots in the bottom will mount the barrel side, the female end of our hinge. Will actually be towards the bottom of this point down here, and we'll insert two bolts here. Go ahead and flip that over. That will get a flat washer, a lock washer, and a nut. And we'll just hand tight these for the moment for any adjustments we may need later. Our next step would be to remove the netting, but however this bike was brought to us without the safety netting already removed. You'll need to be sure if you do install it to make sure our doors are installed. If you, for whatever reason, you uninstall our doors, be sure and put the safety netting back on for safety reasons. And next we will loosen the two torx bolts that are holding on our side protection bar here, and we're just going to loosen it up enough to get these two slots to slide underneath there. So we can go ahead and mount our jamb next. We'll go ahead and loosen those. If the netting has a bolt, this is a tapped hole here. I'm assuming that there was a bolt in place that holds the netting on. If there is, you can use the factory bolt that comes in this tapped hole. If there's not, you can use a 1/4" drill bit and drill the hole out and use a bolt and nut set up out of our hardware package. We'll go ahead and drill this hole out now. Now we will take our jamb, and as once stated, we will take this little tab here and slide it up underneath this bracket and the plastic here. We want to line our slots up with the two bolts, and it should just push right in. Okay, now we've slid our door jamb in. Leave the two torx bolts loose so we can maybe slightly pick up just a little bit on there. We have a little wiggle room. And now we'll want to use our 5/8 by quarter bolt. And the best way to do this is to just take your nut, go ahead and put it in your wrench and slide it up in that tube to start your bolt. So we've installed our jamb out of the box from our front set of doors. Now we'll go ahead and move to our rear set, which will be part number UC535X, X standing for the extension, of course, in the crew bike. And we'll take all the rest of our parts and hardware from here out to show you how to do this rear set of doors. And now I want to remove the smaller box. It contains your jambs for your center post and all your hardware as well. Now we'll have our jambs out of the box here. We'll find bag number 30. Remove our J bracket. We'll need that next. And in bag 16, lower to center here is a 1/4" bolt, 1" long with a flat washer and a lock nut. I've already removed that, and you'll need that to install this J bracket. Pull up here at the top of the jamb piece. The J bracket will go in like so. it will actually clip the top of the roll frame here. And we'll go ahead and install that. Clip it back. Insert our bolt. I'll take our 7/16 wrench and our impact, and we'll tighten everything down. So now this is the jamb that comes with the 535X. And as we stated earlier, this jamb will move to the center post. The only difference in mounting installation, it will still loosen here. The tab will go in the same as always. It will still receive the same J bracket. It will be in your front door set. The only difference is that it will receive 2 1/4" bolts, 5/8 long, in the tab here instead of just one like it is in the back. Okay, next we're going to find our striker location, which will be where this seat belt clip is. We'll want to remove that, but hold on to your original hardware because we'll use that to install the striker plate. Okay, so we've removed the seat belt clip. We'll want to use the existing torx bolt that was there. We'll look in bag 30 on our hardware bags, bag number 30. We'll dig out our striker plate. We'll have 2 vertical adjustment slots here on one side of the bin and 1 horizontal adjustment slot in the other. We'll want that horizontal and this bin going outwards away from the bike. We'll go ahead and place it back to the bracket. Replace the seatbelt clip. Now we'll take our striker bolt out of bag 16 and we'll go ahead and mount that in our horizontal slot here. There's several washers supplied. I generally use to shim the bolt out or back in depending on how your door wants to be adjusted to latch properly. I'm just going to start in the center with one in the front and one on the back, and we'll go forward from there. Alright, now we've got all this put together. We want to just very lightly snug this so we can still adjust it. I'm going to aim for about center, and we'll also pick about center on the striker bolt itself. And go ahead and snug it up slightly. Now we'll find bag number 23. It should have some long strips in it with a 1/4" self-tapping bolt as well as some flat washers. And we'll go ahead and take our bolt, go ahead and put our flat washer on here. Inside of our frame we've got 3 pre-drilled holes in the frame here. And then as you can see, I've already got 2 of the bolts started. I'm just going to show you one on the video. You'll want to go ahead and pre-drill those, or pre-tap them, so to speak, and then just run them in, just get them started. This piece right here will just slide right in. These 3 notches here will just slide in like this. We have a little bend in these tabs. We'll want those facing angled back outwards to where our door will seal properly again. And now we'll go ahead and tighten this down. Go ahead and pull your door out of your box, as well as dig back in bag 29 and pull out the male end of your hinge. We've already installed the female end on our jamb here, and we'll now install the male end on the door. We'll want the prong facing downwards towards the ground so that the door will hang over into the barrels. We'll take the 1/4" 5/8 long bolt with a flat washer, lock washer, and a nut. On the door we have horizontal adjustment, and on the jamb we have vertical adjustment for proper latching. Now we've got our hinges on finger tight, and we'll go ahead and hang our door. I generally like to pull it out 90 degrees where I can easily get both of the hinges to slide in together. Next we'll install our push button handle. It should be bag number 10. Again, in bag 16 with your hardware you'll have some 6mm bolts, 3 mediums, 1 short and 1 long. The 3 mediums will actually go through the door here, here, and here, which will mount in these 2 lower holes underneath your push button hole and then in this bottom here. The short and the long is to adjust your push button itself to where it will strike the pawl without having to push the button all the way in. On this particular handle we'll use the short 6mm to adjust our push button here. We just barely want to get that started, and then we'll take our 10mm wrench and jam that down. Okay, check it. Now we'll go back to our medium size 6mm. We'll put a flat washer on there. We'll go ahead and start in this bottom hole here. Generally it's easier to start there. I'll help line you up. And the 2 holes here at the top will go about beside your. Next we'll find this added piece of flap in the box. And we want to make sure that this tab end meets with this extra excess hang off to where it seals that corner up nicely. This Pro Trim, you can just get it started in the seam here and just push it on by hand. Locks in very nice. So we've got everything in place where it needs to go. Now we're just going to make some fine-tuning adjustments to make sure the door latches properly. To start with, earlier I stated that we have vertical adjustment in our jamb here and horizontal adjustment in our door where our hinges connect. A good starting location I like to start at is this top body line of our jamb. I like to try to mimic that, continue the same body line on the door to where those lines line up. That's generally a good place to start. This one is slightly lower, so we're going to go ahead and raise this up to where it matches pretty good. And I'm going to do my best here to get in behind there to tighten that up. We're just going to go ahead and pop these so our vertical adjustment is set. Okay. So we've established a good body line here. It looks like we've got a little gap here in the top. We're as far up in the jamb as we can go. So we just want to pull the bottom of the door out, which will allow this to kind of kick up some. Looking at the rest of the door, it looks like we're sealed off everywhere pretty good. One thing to keep in mind is how much adjustment is left in your striker. You may want to double check and see how close you are to that location before you lock this door in. Once you have a pretty firm idea and a good feeling about how all of it's coming together, then you can go ahead and lock this door down and we'll adjust the rest out in the striker itself. So now we've got our door locked in. We're going to pull it to. Right here in the center of this pawl, it should wear our striker latch, so we want to center that up vertically here. It looks like our striker latch needs to move up, so we're going to go ahead and loosen these just a little and go ahead and move that up. So now we've got our height adjusted now, and now it's time to adjust our striker in and out. We're sitting about center right now, just slightly snugged, and we'll go ahead and see if we can't get our door to close. Okay, shut fairly easy there, got lucky. Just want to check to see, make sure we're pulling in nice and tight, see if all of our seals. Also, we're testing the ease of shut. If it's too hard to shut, sometimes you can shim it back out a little bit, as long as you're sealing good. If you've got some gaps or something, you may want to pull it back inwards to maybe tighten some of those gaps up. This one looks really good, so we're going to go ahead and tighten it all the way down. Your ArmorTech doors are now installed and you can enjoy it on your next ride.